Welcome to LinuxConfig.org. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to create ZFS clones for safe testing without affecting your production data. We'll create a snapshot, clone it to a new dataset, make changes to the clone, and verify the original remains unchanged. Before we can continue, we need to verify our ZFS pool configuration and check our existing datasets. First, we'll use zpool -- version to confirm ZFS is installed and check the version. Then we'll run zpool status to verify our pool named ZFS pool is online and see that it's using disk SDB. Next, we'll use ZFS list to view our datasets, including the LinuxConfig dataset mounted at /zfspool/LinuxConfig. Keep in mind your output will be different depending on your specific ZFS setup, pool names, and disk configuration. Let's set up our production environment with some important files. We'll navigate to /zfspool/LinuxConfig and create two critical files. Important.txt with production data and settings.conf with our configuration. Using ls-lh, we can see both files were created on November 6th at 8:33. The cat * command displays our file contents, production data, and config file. These represent our production environment that we want to protect while testing changes. Before we make any modifications or experiments, we need to preserve this exact state. This is where ZFS snapshots become essential for creating safe testing environments. Next, we'll create a snapshot of this production data. Now we'll create a snapshot to preserve our production environment. We use sudo ZFS snapshot followed by the dataset name ZFS pool/LinuxConfig at ep2_snap. This instantly captures the current state of both files, important.txt and settings.conf. The snapshot is now created and safely stored, ready to be cloned for testing purposes. Here's where ZFS clones shine, creating a writable copy for testing. We use sudo ZFS Clone followed by the snapshot name ZFS pool/LinuxConfig at ep2_snap and the new dataset name ZFSpool/testclone. This creates an independent writable dataset based on our snapshot, perfect for testing without affecting production data. The clone initially uses almost no disk space thanks to ZFS copy on write technology. Let's verify our clone was created successfully using ZFS list. We can now see three datasets, the original ZFSpool/LinuxConfig at 24 kilobytes and our new clone ZFSpool/testclone showing 0 bytes. The clone uses 0 bytes initially because it shares all blocks with the original snapshot. Notice the test clone is mounted at /ZFSpool/testclone, giving us a completely separate working directory for testing. Now let's make some experimental changes to our clone. We navigate to /ZFSpool/testclone and create a new file test.txt with testing changes. Then we delete settings.conf using rm to simulate testing a configuration change. Running ls-lh shows we now have important.txt from the original snapshot and our new test.txt. The cat * command confirms our clone contains production data and testing changes. Notice that settings.conf is gone from the clone. These changes only affect the clone. Our original production data remains completely untouched. Let's verify that our original production data is completely intact. We switch back to the production directory at /ZFSpool/LinuxConfig. Running cat * shows both production data and config file are still there. Using ls-lh confirms both important.txt and settings.conf remain unchanged with their original timestamps from 8:33. Despite deleting settings.conf and adding test.txt in the clone, the original dataset is perfectly preserved. This demonstrates the power of ZFS clones. You can freely experiment and test changes in the clone without any risk to your production environment. Once testing is complete, we can clean up our clone and snapshot. We use sudo ZFS destroy to remove the test clone dataset, then destroy the ep2_snap snapshot. Running ZFS list confirms we're back to just our original LinuxConfig dataset. Let's verify our production data one final time by navigating to /yzfspool/linuxconfig. The ls command shows both important.txt and settings.conf are still there. Using cat asterisk confirms our production files contain production data and config file, exactly as they were before we started testing. ZFS clones give you the freedom to experiment safely, knowing your production data is always protected. Subscribe for more Linux tutorials, and thanks for watching.